early for me.
It's really fun. Sorry.
Feels good.
Okay,
Sorry.
I'm not gonna. I don't have a presentation up there, and my older MacBook doesn't connect to that screen. We've tried that before in the past. I just have the computer in case you want me to show you and demonstrate anything on there. But this is our team. Dan. He's a developer, web developer. Michael, graphic designer. I'm Sarah, and Alexis, another graphic designer. So since we don't have that many people, we could start by just going around and saying your name and maybe one thing that you're hoping to learn today or have questions about. Otherwise, I can go through some things, and an hour goes pretty fast when we get into like one subject that everyone's excited about. So Erin, do you want to?
I am Erin Echternach. I'm the assistant director with Greater Bemidji. I was just kind of open to whatever came up today. I've been out of doing the social media and marketing for a little while for nonprofits, so I kind of want to know what platforms are available and what I may be able to utilize.
Okay.
My name is Emily Enger. I'm the communications director over at Watermark Art Center. It's a lot of things that I'd love to know. I think to pick one, maybe tips for how to streamline marketing, but doing so in a way where you're still reaching all generations. And kind of the posters on billboards crowd and the social media crowd somehow.
Okay.
Dave Wall, here for two reasons. One, I do have a startup travel company called Ethnotracks, and for that I would love to learn how to market to a niche market, and that's probably not on social media. And then I'm also representing Devotion Paintball Laser Tag down the road here, which we do have a social media presence and not a bad following as far as for amount of likes, that type of thing. And just learning how to really grab the attention of our repeat customers and new customers and expand that base, which I think is social media is a good avenue because it's a lot of younger folks that use it. So just learning more about that.
My name's Mike Fritz, an IT guy, IT company for some 30 years. Evaluating how I may want to remake my company or take a different direction, and will be involved in getting the word out and getting some clients.
Great.
My name is Trisha Robinson. I have Minute 59, the escape room here in town. I'm also looking at a new something after the first of the year, so wanting to learn a little bit more how to get that out there before I open, and then also to help the escape room too, because I still get people to say, oh, I didn't even know you were here.
I'm Shannon Collins. I'm with the United Way Bemidji area. I'm a little tardy, so I missed what the third.
Oh, just telling or one thing that you were hoping to learn today.
Okay. I don't know specifically what I'm looking to learn, but I'm very open to learning anything.
Tiffany Pettit, Launchpad. And I'm always looking to see how we can increase our likes. We're not even at 1,000 yet. My goal is 15,000.
I'm Monty Charbonneau on White Birch Resort in Blackduck, or on Blackduck Lake. And always trying to, we have a unique resort, so we're always trying to figure out how to reach the people that are looking for something a little out of the ordinary. And the marketing is always changing for me, and just to keep up on it.
Okay. So it sounds like a lot of trying to get more clients and customers, more like maybe more of a social following, and how to reach your business name out to everybody. One thing that is kind of covers all of that and that we've talked about before, and then you keep hearing a lot is what you're saying with like the niche. That can span across all businesses. So people say, well, really, I apply to everybody. Everyone would like my service or my business. But that is harder to then get your core following of people that are really interested in your product or your service, your location. So there are some worksheets that you could do to narrow that down, and I can email those to you afterwards. It's really looking at your target persona. Actually, I left that one on the printer, but I can send that to you later. I was just going to go through some of those. That's one thing. It's really you're figuring out your niche, and the reason is because if you're speaking to that one person versus the whole world, then you are relating to that person. So the stuff you're putting out there is going to be what they're like makes you relate to them, and they're comfortable. You're friends with that person, and that would be either on your website, like what you're saying with your words and your images. So that changes your whole tone and your voice on your website, and also what you're putting on social media. So if it's someone that likes to see humor, then you're going to change everything so it's not serious. You're talking right to that person, maybe with some humor. Or if it's you're going to look at just moms, or just guys that like to hunt, whatever, it has to be very, very specific. So all the way down to that one person, not like, well, all people that live in Bemidji, that kind of, that like living on the lake. Okay, well, go all the way down to that one person. Is it man or woman? Their age range? Do they have kids? Because then you know exactly, like, and of course, you're kind of stereotyping like moms, because there's all different types of people, but that's where you go down even further. Well, are they a yoga type person? Are they into health food, or do they like to party? Like what type of person is it that you're going to talk to? That's going to help a lot. So we could go into yours, maybe spreading the name out about minute
59. Yes.
59. And I've been there before. So you probably right now, are you getting a lot of referrals? Is that how you're getting business?
The word of mouth
word
is
of mouth?
really starting. I do some Facebook as well. I tried like a newspaper ad. I don't think I really got very much from that. Most of the marketing with that type of venue is non-traditional, but I thought I'd give it a crack anyway. But yeah.
And are you having people travel here from Fargo and other places? Like you mentioned, some people go around the different locations.
Yes, and I do have enthusiasts that come in, and I've actually the escape room in the Mall of America. Apparently, I know that some of their employees came up and played, and apparently they tell everybody what an awesome one we have up here. So I've had players come in and tell me, "Oh yeah, we were down at the Mall of America. They said you have great rooms up here," and I'm like, "Oh."
Cool, that's really good. Have you been doing any videos of?
I did a little bit. I did like for my Banshee room. I had a little promo video for it. And that I got a great response from it, and I just didn't know what to do with the other ones because I'm not that good at that sort of thing. I feel like I need videos with people who are actually doing it.
That's what I was gonna say. Like, if you could sign a release, like saying, "Can I show a clip of like you in your room?" So you could find ones that are really like exciting to people. So they're like makes other people be like, "I want to do that too."
So they see people engaging with that.
Yeah, but I'm sure there's a lot of funny things people say when they're in there.
It's my entertainment too.
Right. So if you could I'm sure the people going really don't care. They probably think it's funny too, and they'll want to share it with their friends that, whatever came up in that conversation.
Well, and I've considered having like a group that this is what they're going to do. They're going to play the room, but is it okay if we have somebody in taking pictures and video? So basically I would comp the room for them if they let us take pictures and video of them doing it.
But don't you have already a camera in there that you're watching on your computer?
I do, but it's not really awesome. You're not going to get any kind of emotion off of it because it's basically a security camera. It's colored, it's got good optics and everything, but it's not, I don't think it's quality enough for that sort of thing.
Well, maybe you upgrade your camera in that area, and so then you could just record it on your computer
Or
right
save an
away,
extra.
and then just cut clips of that. So it's one route.
Because I have a camera that I can control from my phone. I've never actually tried it, but it does have video. So I mean, it's something that I could set up in there and then just operate it just like I'm operating the rest of the room from the control room.
Yeah, that's a great way to do it. And then so if what?
Sorry.
Well, I was gonna say, like, to apply that then across other businesses, you know, so then you have the video, so then what do you do with it? That's where you're looking to at your different audience of what maybe social media platform they're using. I would put it for sure on your website, because people are always gonna go to the website because they don't know exactly what you do and they wanna see the rooms available, so they're gonna be on the website, so put it on there. But one thing I was gonna share today is I've been learning about Instagram stories. Has anyone used those? A little bit?
Yep.
And I just haven't been looking into it, but I was listening to a podcast on it, and they were saying that almost 50% of, and this was probably a couple months ago, and it was gaining every month, but like 50% of the users on Instagram are only looking at the stories now. They just want to go through and look at the stories versus the feed. Because they're getting, yeah, they're getting the video and the, you know, you're actually like seeing that person, who they are, and then getting a little more information.
What's your feeling on, like in my, I read where, like in my case, don't take pictures of, I have a cat. Well.
Of what?
Of a cabin that people want to rent. Well, get people in there instead of just a plain table. Is it?
For sure.
Is it better to have, I mean, 10 years ago it was like, oh, don't put people in a pit, you know, in a website.
For the paintball shop down here, I've had lots of opportunity to experiment with what reach means and what view means on Facebook, right? And if you're hitting at 30% on you have 100 people reached and 30% viewed, that's actually considered pretty good. And so I paid for some stuff to get it out there more, and my percentages were, you know, I was hitting that 30% on these cheap little videos, because I've got an S9, whatever, it takes great video, and that little program right on my phone, I just edit and then pop them out on Facebook. But when I talk to a group that comes in and I say to them, I get their picture as a group, and I said, I'll put it up on Facebook, take yourself. I'll even throw some video on there of you guys. They're all snaky. It's as high as 80% view after that, because all of their friends are looking at them and everything. They tag themselves in it, and they do all that work for me. And it's been really good to watch those numbers increase like that. The only time, like if I do, like I did a thing about winter blues, and that groups are still booking. I had a group play at 14 degrees last weekend, and they had a gas. I mean, we just make it work for them. But if I do that, it's kind of like the cabin without people in it, you know? And I can put some people in here and there. But if there's no connection to those people, it goes way down, unless it's a 20-second video. If it's a 20-second video, they'll engage and look at it, because it's not that long, right? But if you want more with content, if it's tied to people that are known, that type of thing, it's amazing then.
Well, you made it personal.
Yeah, it's
And
big personal.
that's the best part
Yep.
about social media.
So,
Yeah, we see it a lot too. Like, I can post something about some design examples that we did, and they're like, oh, that's nice. But if I just show a picture of us standing there, they like that. They like it a lot better. Like, oh, I know that person. What are they doing? And they're more interested in it than just a static image. So yeah, for your cabins, I mean, you're gonna have on your website views of each room and photos, you know, to see what they look
Yeah,
like.
I'm not saying do it like in a bedroom or bathroom. I'm saying out on a deck or
But
something.
yeah, for your
So-
marketing and stuff with people, for sure.
And even, you know, I have some pictures of, I think one cabin that has beach towels draped over. I mean, it's like 10 of them. And it's all different colors. And I love that picture better than just a plain old, hey, nice picture of a house. But what's your view on I mean, it's occupied,
Right.
you know, it's,
Well, it's showing how they would be using it.
yes.
So like real life, like they can picture themselves, you know,
I
somewhere
mean,
with their
you
beach
can tell
towels
it's
out.
Beach towels, I mean,
Yep.
it's not like it's a bath towel or something, when they're big and colorful and all different.
Yeah, no, that's a great idea. Even
videos too, right?
Yeah, I get a lot of visits on drone videos
okay,
and pictures, yes, because they're something unique,
right.
you know.
Something even like in there, like, you know, certain type of object that you're using as your kind of setup, you know, the food on the table, you know, some bottles of beer, you know, just showing that environment. People like to picture themselves in that element.
Can I flip it to my other business?
Yep.
Which is very niche
Yep,
and very difficult to get live video because it's on the other side of the world, right? But I'm trying to discipline myself how to tie the blog thing into it, right?
yep,
And because the draw into my niche business, which is extremely niche, is it's points of interest. And so I've been throwing things out that I've seen more people engage on and then I want them to read about it too, not just the video, because I can put them together like that. But, you know, and I'm not a professional, I don't have a lot of money to spend on professional video. I've spent a lot, but now on this end of it, I'm trying to do it myself. But, so, like, for instance, I did one on organic food, and then our travel program takes you somewhere that it's completely organic, so I wanted to tie it in that way.
mm-hmm.
Now, I didn't pay any money to get it out there even further, but it had a pretty good engagement ratio on it, which then on YouTube or whatever, people are looking at organic, hopefully it pops. Oh, look at that kind of thing. But it's kind of the opposite of the paintball shop where you have that ginormous market out there that you want the interest for the paintball. Well, I want lots of people to look at my other thing too, but it's so niche that I don't have. It's like an opposite type of a thing, you know. And anyway, so the blogging I think is gonna work.
Yeah, that was one thing I had written down for, you know, a topic today was blogs, which can be a huge part of everybody's business. So especially like Dave's, where you're an expert in what you're doing. So you have a voice in that. So blogging and doing videos are going to be huge for you. You have to get on a schedule, you know, weekly schedule. Make yourself a candle, you know, do 5 at once, you know, in 1 week, and then
When
just
you're in the
release
flow.
1 a week. Yeah.
When you're in the groove.
Is there a link to a blog that is most appropriate?
There is, and I don't remember on the top of my head how many characters it is, but like you need to have a lot of meat in it, like not a paragraph or two. Like you want a lot of information there that people can really learn something. So with some pictures, video clips, anything, but you need a couple things and then maybe some kind of download that goes with it.
Yeah. Sarah had a good point, and that was like if my infomercials, if you want to call them that, I try and keep under a minute because then I can put them on Instagram and they watch the whole thing, and then on Facebook. But really longer than that, it's just too long. But then take the actual script, put it into a blog, and then put more detail in with that. Because if people are really interested, they're going to read more.
And doing that on YouTube also. So
Yeah.
it's like, I'm sure you guys do too, on YouTube you put videos up there, and then you actually put the entire script in your description.
Oh, okay.
So then when people are searching, I mean, YouTube is going to come up a lot in searches.
Should the blogs be, I mean, like in my case, I mean, I don't know, should it be about just out of the ordinary thing, or does it have to pertain just to your business?
It should be in the same arena. Like, you wouldn't want to just start talking about I don't know, what you like shopping for at Menards.
Well, okay, like a cookie, a recipe, how to do this, should it be about that?
If it's a summer recipe that goes along with maybe what some people can make in their cabin, then for sure.
For a large group, you know?
Yeah, for a large group, for family.
Highlighting
Reunion.
different, attractions in the area. Wood Carvers Festival and Black Duck or whatever.
And another thing that is really good to do, say you even have to only have 3 or 4 blog posts on your own website. Well, if you don't have a large following already, like nobody is reading them. So it's actually more important to guest blog posts on other people's blogs that already have a huge following, and then send them to your website.
How do you guess one?
If you go on a lot of bigger blogs, there'll be a link at the bottom a lot of times that says like "Write for us," because they have a hard time keeping up with writing all of their own content, and so a lot of them are guest blog posts. Like they'll say that on there, guest blogger
Some of
with your name.
them that I found, because I do some freelance writing on the side as well, just personally, will want you to have pre-written the content. Not all of them, but some will be like, submit your article or something.
They want you to
They'll
pitch
wanna
the idea.
see,
So
yeah.
you could Google like template for pitching a blog post idea. And then you put in there the basics of what would be in your post, and then they say, well, that's really interesting. Yes, I want you to write a blog post for me. So you could do that a lot too, and if there's different online journals out there or something for,
Well, even
your
amongst the
niche.
owners, because the owners community is pretty tight. We all help each other because the industry is young, and the fact that each of us only have so many rooms, and we don't change them terribly often, so we have to like keep circulating the players amongst them to kind of build that enthusiast market. Where
Mhm.
right now, at least up here, there's still a lot of new first-time players, but we want them to become enthusiasts. So once they play my rooms, then I have to send them, oh, and Laura's got some great rooms in Brainerd, and the ones in Fargo are awesome. The ones in Duluth are really great too. So we send each other. So we already have that community, but yeah, building that sort of work,
Mhm.
where we're blogging. A few of them do blog, but not a lot. And I don't know.
Yeah, it's a really great way for advertising your business and with somebody else's followers.
I think the new business would be more conducive to that sort of thing, probably than the escape room. Which definitely would, I think.
Is it a secret what you're doing?
Not really. It's a laser cutting engraving business, aimed more at business rather than individual. So I have some markets that I already, partially with the escape room, marketing to other escape rooms, and then also some stuff that I used to do before I had a real job.
Always come up with new ideas
Yes.
once you have one rolling. Julie, is there something that you were hoping to learn today?
Well, I'm so far behind all of you. I feel like I don't know that much about social media and how to go about doing it and stuff. But I guess my question is, how do you know if you, if you advertise on Facebook or you advertise in the newspaper or on the radio, how does a business really know what is working the best for them? I mean, how do you know? So you take out the ad in the paper,
Yeah.
let's say, how do you ever know that was money well spent?
I think the only way you could really tell, you guys can chime in whenever too, but the only way I think you can really tell is if you have some type of hook or offer that you're sending the people to react to, and they only know about it through that ad. So
I've noticed a few things like on Facebook where they say if you mention this, do you just put that on your Facebook post? Like, I'm trying to remember who it was. Somebody, I don't remember what business it was, but they said if you mention this, they'll get this much off. Is that what you're talking about? And can you just put that on in your post, or how did? I don't know how that exactly would work.
yeah, you can do that for sure. They could either use their phone as a coupon and show you, or
Mhm.
instead of printing it out. That's one thing. I don't know, I thought you were maybe, because that's digital, so you can kind of track them other ways, but like for like a print ad in the newspaper, that
Yeah, I'm just,
yeah,
a
in
big
general.
blanket on your advertising.
Yeah,
How
that would
do you
be
know?
some kind of, doesn't even have to be a coupon, just some kind of mention or special or something that they would only know about from that ad. So I don't know exactly what that would be, but
Or if there's a specific landing page, like you have a landing page for this ad, and then you have this for this Facebook.
well, that would be
thing,
for
then you know-
websites for
right,
sure.
yeah.
But Julie just has people coming up to order hot dogs. So like, how do they? That's what you're wondering, like if that ad was.
Yeah, like as a business owner, I'm thinking, okay, so how do you know, it's gonna be January now, and so you kind of figure out what you're gonna spend for the year or whatever. How do you know, like, okay, how much should I spend for this, how much for this, was that worth it? That's a really hard thing, I think, for
I think you
business.
have to start asking
Yeah.
customers, I mean,
How do you-
really,
how
how
did
did you
you
hear about
hear
us?
about
Yeah,
I
I
have a
mean,
lot of conversations with
Yeah.
customers, or they'll bring it up, or honestly, it just takes time. Like the longer you're in your role, the more you kind of get your finger on the pulse.
yeah.
A little bit easier. But like with print, the only thing they can tell you is how many households subscribe to that newspaper. They can't tell you who saw it. They can't tell you who, you know, how many of those eyeballs then came into the shop.
Well, and that's why I only did it one time, and I'm like, yeah, I don't know, because honestly, they didn't even tell me when it came out.
Yeah, I would just tie it in with some type of offer,
Yeah.
because then you're knowing it's they're directly they saw it and they get that dollar off. Or
It also ties back into like your target audience too. So you might have like your group A, B, and C. So A would be your most dominant group, who you know comes in the most. Well, you have to look at how to target that specific group. If it's a younger millennial group, Facebook and social media. If it's an older group who still reads the newspaper, the newspaper ad would benefit you probably a little bit more because they don't do social media. So it's like what Sarah had said earlier, where you're looking at your target market. You can't just say, I want everyone to see this, because it's too generalized. But if you find at least your top 2 or 3 groups, then you can specifically target those, and it probably help you a lot more on a marketing standpoint. But I would say also just ask your customers, because they're more than happy to tell you where they've heard about you. So
Did everybody get the moccasin thing in the mail?
I did.
Yeah,
I brought it in my bag.
I'll tell you what, how much stuff do we just throw in the garbage?
yeah.
It's out of Canada. Well, first of all, the name caught my attention because I'm from Canada. But Muckluck, sorry.
Yeah.
You know what the second thing was that caught my eye was Native people models, and I was just like, and then my wife takes it, which my wife, she's low maintenance, I call her. But she's telling me, oh, I would wear those. These $300.
Yeah.
Of course. And I'm like, they've hit something magical here, because we all take the junk mail and just toss it in the garbage, right? Oh, that was amazing, and it's print. And then we were looking at, I told my wife, I said, see, you just need to spend $1 million to send that out like that. And I'm like, yeah, right. But because it's print, and then you go to the website. We went right to the website.
Because like,
Now I know what
if those are images that are cool,
you're-
what's on the website? And, yeah.
If you knew my wife, she's never like that, but pulled the muck like really.
Okay, on to opening the mail and actually reading it. How do you get people to open an email without delete?
An email.
Yeah.
Well,
If you blast.
it's back to talking to your niche, like that one person, so it doesn't look.
Well, we don't know who
Generic.
they are. I mean,
Oh, you
just got a
should.
blank.
Yeah.
Well,
By now you probably
in
do.
Email. I'm just saying,
Oh, like
you have a,
well, no, I mean, send that one email that's to your target out to everyone if you don't have separate lists, and it's at least going to speak to that one person that is your customer. That's gonna be interested in what you're saying if you're speaking directly to them.
Because you have to personalize it for each group that you're targeting. So like one that you would do for like fishing, people like to do fishing in the summer, they just want a fun place to stay, you would target them and say something very different from like the family on vacation. who just wants to come here for like a weekend. So finding those niche markets and then basically personalizing it, like Sarah said, to talk
Do you
to them.
think, I mean, I use, what is that, Little Monkey?
MailChimp? I used to say Monkey Mail until I remembered what it was.
And I use that, and I experiment with the subject and stuff. Do you think leaving your name to brand it on there every time, White Birch Resort? On there, and no matter what, just leave that?
Like
don't
using
change
your
it?
logo?
In
or
the
that
subject
personal
line?
name?
No, it'll be coming from,
Oh,
the from
The from view.
person.
I don't know if mine shows up the same as like for my Gmail I set up. I don't just have Sarah Hookup. I always put divider line Evolve Creative so they can see which business it is.
Well, mine comes, can't remember if they say who it's.
But have your name in there for sure. Your
It'll be
name.
White Birch Resort, but it won't have my name, because they don't know who I am. I mean,
Right.
90% of my customers.
But it does make it more personal if you have your
Yeah,
name.
I would have your
It
name.
looks less like
Spam.
if it's got a name with it.
Yeah, I would change it to your name and try that.
Like your name at White Birch Resort or from, or,
Mhm.
you know, some.
And then I also have in here, which I could send people, is a list of really good subject lines. It's like a whole page of 50 awesome email subject lines. So
And I
that
use-
like that, I can pass that around. What?
I use that, see, MailChimp does give you a test. You can experiment with like up to 3, I think. And you can send them to like, say, 500. And then you say you want to do it just for $8. And then they'll pick the winner, whoever opened up the most.
Mhm.
Then the rest of them will send to just with that subject line. Which
That's a good way to test
it's,
it.
it's an easy,
Mhm.
but I've experimented with the White Birch Resort thing. And it seems like when I don't have White Birch in there, they open it up more. If I put like Minnesota Vacation or Winter Blues is here, time to plan for the summer or something just different.
You
But
say about the subject line, like the title for your email instead?
You're taking White Birch out of the subject line, is that what you're saying?
Yep.
Yeah, because they already know, if they have already seen your emails, they already know what you do, but they want to know about that topic.
Yeah,
that
so you
you're-
do want your topic in there, like whatever is
But
gonna
not
pique their
White
interest.
Birch, yeah. Because they already, you know,
Well,
they don't need to see that again, they might just hit delete right away,
Yeah.
because they know what
White
yours
Birch
is.
be in your from field. Like, so when they
Yeah,
see the email, they
exactly.
see it's coming from
Yeah.
White Birch.
I can't remember if it's, yeah, it should, yeah.
So then you're
Yes, it
actually,
comes from-
you're saying the same thing twice.
Yeah.
And you're naming it
A
again.
lot of times it'll show up twice in your email, like when they actually see it in their feed
Mhm.
essentially. I mean, it's just redundant, so it's not actually telling them what your email's about. It's just telling you
Yeah.
where it's from essentially.
Yeah, I
How
can
many,
send it to you.
how many times should you send an email blast? Your recommendation?
Oh, like if you have a newsletter?
Yeah, kind of like a newsletter.
It totally varies on what the industry is. If you just have a general, like from yours, maybe once a week to once a month.
Seems
Depends on how
like,
much writing you want to
in
do.
my opinion, if I get them once a week, I block them after a month. And then I'll shut them off. If somebody's sending me something,
Once a week. It's not that much. I mean, I get some once a day.
you'd be blocked.
Yeah.
But just, I mean, yes, I like reading some of them, but.
But it
you get-
depends. If you're
you
not
get
writing that
some-
much, you just do once a month.
You could also look at doing it like once a month during the winter, and then once your like resort busy season is, like maybe once a week, like what's happening. Or,
That's a really good point too.
Because
It's the opposite.
if you pre-wrote them, though,
Yeah, pre-write
if you
them,
wrote
yeah.
them in your slow season, if they were general and not specific,
But right now, see, I'm looking for customers. Summertime, I'm not looking for them. That's dumb. I mean,
Anytime you put any kind of promo in your subject line, people tend to open it more from my experience. Like if they get a discount or some kind of special, then they'll respond to that more in general, I think.
And another one is like, I have another one somewhere about like, you know, good words to put in your blog post titles. It's always something with numbers, and those would go along with your emails. So if you're gonna write stuff about like, here, you know, top 10 things to pack for vacation, or different things that'd be an interest to them, but yours could be something where like you're making them excited for summer coming up. So you're gonna show a picture like on the beach or in the warm in the sun and kids playing. And so if you keep that going all winter, and then, you know, tell me gotta book now because it's booking up, like create urgency. That's another big one, is creating urgency. They don't want to miss out. Let's see.
And then also one more thing for emails, I've noticed you have to realize what is a good time to send your email. Don't just generally send what day of the week. So look into that and then see which one gets the best response, because if you send it on a Monday, you're probably not going to have much of a response. Same with like a Friday. People are either off for the weekend or they're just busy because they just got back to work. So like middle of the week, for a lot of businesses, I think would work pretty well, or even weekends. And then like 5 to 7 o'clock at night when people are on the computer sometimes for their personal life. Or if it's more for work-related stuff, do it right around like 12 to noon, lunchtime or something. Because they've already like gotten over their morning stuff. By afternoon, you normally are checking your email and you're more on top of things. So just tracking when you get the best response for your emails.
Mine is during work hours.
Yeah. So
Most people open up.
yeah. So just
Most
tracking
people
that actually helps
at work.
you.
Yep.
You know, they're like sick of work and
Yeah.
need a vacation. And it does work.
Yeah.
I mean, the weekend is the least.
Well, people are busy.
Yeah.
I think it's like, yeah, they're at work with their phone and my boss isn't looking. You know?
And that's another thing to remember. Like, I think about this when I'm sending something out, and you know, we do website development, so I want people to actually be looking on the website. So I have to remember when I'm sending out a post, I don't want it to be when I'm knowing that they're maybe on their phone at night or on the weekend. I want them to be at work on their computer, so when they click the link, they're looking at it on their computer. So if you're wanting them to see your actually website versus just reading a post, then just keep that in mind too. And yep, Dave.
That's a great point you brought up, Michael, because I was after all the athletic directors in northern Minnesota here a few weeks ago, and I was like, man, we need to get a hold of those guys. And their assistants are no better for getting a hold of, but I kind of stumbled on Monday morning because the week hasn't gotten all jacked up yet. And that's when you can actually get them on their phone and they'll actually read something.
Yeah.
And so don't even try after Wednesday because the weekend's ramping up and everything. And so I put together a letter just on, we do laser tag, and we can do that in a gymnasium with our own props and everything like that. And we went to Thiefburg and did an event with a college, and I was like, oh, this is beautiful. These kids are we got it. And those college kids, it was amazing how they really engaged in laser tag. And so I made a YouTube video, put a link in the letter, my newsletter, and then sent that out and stuck the unsubscribe at the bottom. And maybe 60 or 70 people I sent it to. I got one unsubscribe, so that was a victory for me. Just one. And so the rest have, I'm going to assume, have looked at it because it was easy to read and it was an option for indoor fun in the winter, right? And, but anyway, good point.
Time of day.
Time of day or time of the week.
Well, MailChimp has a lot of like report options if you use that one specifically, so just dig through that and make sure you're tracking, because you can see exactly who opened your email. You can see what time they opened it. So you can actually see which group, who actually looks at it on maybe a weekly or monthly basis. And then maybe target them more often if you really want to get them to, you know, make a sale or do something like that where it's more personalized.
A lot of that applies to social media too.
Yeah.
You know, I pay attention to like, you know, what days does Facebook do well, what time of day does Instagram do well. And a lot of that is trackable too.
Another point to go along with the emails then is growing your email list, because they say, you know, you have all these followers on Facebook, but you don't own those because Facebook does. So, you know, if that changes, then you lose those with all the social media platforms. But your email list, that's your list, and it's a direct link to that person that you can send marketing to. So make sure you're always growing your email list. And I have a list here I can read of just some 5 ways you can grow your list. One is a simple opt-in form on your website. So that's like the one we just added to your website, Dave, where right when you go to the website, you have the pop-up light box that says, you know, subscribe to our newsletter for, you know, yada yada, you know, why are they
For
doing
a free
this?
trip.
Yeah.
No, not actually.
I'm just kidding.
Run a contest to get people who are interested to enter. Create a freebie, a download, or a guide. So one example is I just created this website health evaluation, and I'm going to put that on our website as a little bar at the top that says, you know, sign up for, or just enter your name to receive this free website evaluation you could fill out yourself. So anything like that.
Can I say something to that? Because I just, on the receiving end of that, a website that I follow started doing that. And I thought, oh, this is just going to be so gimmicky. I know what this is. I do marketing, you know, blah, blah, blah. I can see through this. But they were all really good.
Mm-hmm.
Like they weren't downloads for something dumb that I'd known before. They were actually taking their time to create content that I actually wanted to know. And I actually learned something from them. And every time they send a newsletter, they like I have that option to like, you know, do something for the download, and I do it because I know the content like will stand up.
Yeah, make sure it's good. Like that's why I did this one from Jenna Kutcher, that she's a blogger and she's actually from Minnesota. And then I have like 2 of hers that are like this, and then this Caitlin that she has your Facebook, you know, teaches you how to do Facebook groups and how you can make all your money just from Facebook groups. But you know, there's a lot of information here. These are all free PDFs. So something that is in your industry, like be a checklist. There's a lot of things that go along with what type of freebie or download it is. I have another page I can send you guys that's a big list of what kind of download to offer. Another one is run an ad campaign to the freebie, like on Facebook. So get people, you know, send them to the place where they need to sign up, so then you're getting their email again. And then we already talked about this, is provide a reason to opt in immediately. But I guess that's a little bit different. That's the one of creating that urgency. Like, you know, you get to a lot of e-commerce sites and they say, you know, enter your email to get 10% off your first order. So right away you're going to enter your email address because if you know you're going to order there, well, I want 10% off or 20% off. So those are just some different tactics to, you know, grow your email list. And Julie, that's, you know, one area that covers your different ages is that email list, letting people know, for one, when you're going to open again, what your hours are. You want to keep emailing people, not just doing social media.
You do that on your website.
To collect the emails.
Good.
Yep. You could also have some kind of either, you know, a lot of places you see that just have the paper that, you know, they say put your email down and we'll notify you when we have a sale coming up. I see that in a lot of boutiques. You could do something like that too, where they just write down, especially since you have tourists that come in.
And if you happen to use Square credit card processing, you have that option for newsletter sign up. And it's kind of nice because you're already talking to the person, you're already one-on-one. So if you can get them to sign up right there, you have a much higher chance of them actually doing that versus, you know, email or some other form. So that's just another option if you're using that.
And you can create like ones that are like, if you have a, you know, retail location, you can have something sitting out that they can just enter their email right there. It has something more interesting of like why they want to sign up, and that's you're collecting their email too. So anything else about email marketing?
You're gonna email that to,
Yeah, I can do that.
if we sign up.
Yep. I have your email.
You've got lots of money.
Yep.
Give her that fake one.
Yeah.
I can just pass some of these around, but afterwards too, if you want to give me your email, then I can, I'm going to start sending out monthly, not probably weekly, monthly emails on some of these different tips. So if you just want hear about the latest trend going on in marketing, like the Instagram stories, sign up, because I don't have all of your emails, half your emails.
Do you have this on your website, you said?
Not yet.
Okay.
It's going to be by the end of the day.
Pressure.
But if you put your email in right here, I already have this set up. So this I'm using Campaign Monitor since we've used it forever, but I would prefer to do MailChimp. But I have set up an action, so like this will be the same as what's on the site. As soon as you enter the email address, you're going to get a reply email right away that has that link to that PDF download. Sure, I can do that. Any more topics that popped up in your head? Yeah?
What about marketing more towards business and less towards individuals? So individual seems to be easier with social
B2B,
media and email and that sort of thing. What about when you're wanting to catch business? Because I would need it for both, for the escape room and because I do large group games and team building and that kind of thing too.
Well, again, you're still speaking to that one person. So even though it's a business, it's one person that's going to be making those decisions. So you can still reach them through social media, and you just, have the right headline on there that speaking to it as a business objective versus the personal thing that they might be doing, but you're still speaking to that person. So I think print still works really good, like sending it to the business, to that decision maker, because they're going to get stuff at their office then, and they're going to go through and make a pile of things that might pertain to, office team building, stuff like that for what you're doing. Because I know you were talking about doing that before. There was a bunch of ideas that you had about, teaming up with some other businesses,
Yes.
and including that in.
Yeah, my issue
Yeah.
has been time, but
Yeah.
that's part of the reason why I'm doing the new business, because that gives me a little more flexibility with my time. I need more time for the escape room. I just need more time.
Right. There's only so many hours in the day.
That's right.
Do you have anything that's helped, like, if we can help a little bit directly on each of your businesses?
I think just talking about content, so I try not to make everything the same on every platform, but yet make it similar, because it has to, with marketing, you have to be able to recognize, that's the photo and the language that I use for this event. But at the same time, your website is going to be a little different text than Facebook versus your ad that you took out in the paper. And so thinking just across all those platforms, I don't know if you have any advice on how to best do that, just in terms of my own time management too, because I'm only one person, not a team of 3 or 4. And if you really think about, you're basically redoing your marketing strategy for every platform a little bit, and that's a lot of time. So if you're going to make it faster.
Yeah, I'm like the ones I follow, and I follow them across all platforms. They're still speaking the same language, the same imagery, same voice. They're just very consistent, and they're creating that strong brand because they're still trying to target the one niche, the one person, not across. If you're trying to speak to everybody, you're speaking to nobody.
Right.
So that's a way to save time, is just make it consistent. And if you don't appeal to everybody, at least you're really appealing to those, ones that are going to be repeat customers.